Maya sat on the cold concrete sidewalk outside the busy cafe. Her back rested against the brick wall of the building. The morning sun was warm on her face, but she still felt cold inside. People walked past her every few seconds. Most of them looked straight ahead. They did not want to see her. She had been sitting in the same spot for 3 hours. Her guitar case lay open beside her on the ground. A few coins and $2 bills sat inside it. Not much money for 3 hours of work? Her stomach made a low rumbling sound. She had not eaten since yesterday morning. Maya looked down at her clothes. Her jeans had holes in them. Her shirt was too big and had stains on it. She found these clothes in a donation box behind a church last week. They were not pretty, but they kept her warm. Her shoes had holes too. When it rained, her feet got wet. Her hair was long and brown, but it was messy. She had not washed it in 4 days. There was no place for her to take a shower. The public restroom at the park had a sink, but it was too small to wash her hair properly. Maya tried to keep herself clean, but it was hard when you lived on the streets. The guitar in her lap was her most important thing. It was old and scratched. The wood was faded from brown to a lighter color. 2 of the 6 strings were broken. She could not buy new strings because strings cost money, and she needed money for food. But she could still play music with 4 strings. It just sounded different. Maya learned to play guitar when she was 12 years old. Her foster mother, Mrs. Johnson, had bought her the guitar for her birthday. Mrs. Johnson was kind to Maya. She taught Maya how to hold the guitar and how to make chords with her fingers. Maya loved music right away. It made her feel happy when everything else in her life was sad. But Mrs. Johnson got sick when Maya was 14. She could not take care of Maya anymore. Maya had to go to a new foster home. The new family was not as nice. They did not care about Maya's music. They said the guitar was too loud and told her to stop playing. When Maya turned 18 2 months ago, she aged out of the foster care system. That meant she was too old to live in foster homes anymore. She was supposed to be an adult now and take care of herself. But Maya had no money, no job, and no place to live. The only thing she had was her guitar. For the past 2 months, Maya had been sleeping in different places. Sometimes she slept in the park under a big tree. Sometimes she slept behind buildings where no one could see her. It was scary to sleep outside, especially when it was dark. She worried that someone might hurt her or steal her guitar. Maya held up a piece of cardboard. She had written on it with a black marker she found on the ground. The sign said, "Can I play for food?" The words were simple, but they told her whole story. She did not want money for drugs or alcohol like some people thought. She just wanted food. She was hungry all the time now. A woman in a nice dress walked by. She looked at Maya for a second, then looked away quickly. The woman walked faster. Maya was used to this. People were afraid of homeless people. They thought homeless people were dangerous or dirty. Maya was not dangerous. She was just a girl who needed help. A man in a business suit stopped near Maya. He reached into his pocket and pulled out some change. He dropped the coins into her guitar case without looking at her. He did not say anything. Maya said thank you quietly, but the man was already walking away. Maya picked up her guitar and started to play a song. She played slowly because she had to be careful with the broken strings. The song was one she wrote herself. It was about feeling alone and wanting someone to care about you. Her voice was soft but clear. She sang the words with feeling. Some people slowed down when they heard her music. A few stopped to listen for a minute, but most people kept walking. Maya understood. People were busy. They had places to go and things to do. They did not have time to listen to a homeless girl sing. An older woman with gray hair stopped and listened to the whole song. When Maya finished, the woman smiled at her. She put $5 in the guitar case. "You have a beautiful voice, dear," the woman said. "Keep singing." Maya felt tears in her eyes. It had been a long time since someone said something kind to her. "Thank you," Maya said. "That means a lot to me." The woman nodded and walked away. Maya watched her go. For a moment, Maya felt less alone. Maybe there were still good people in the world. Maybe someone would help her someday. Maya counted the money in her guitar case. She had $8.63. That was enough to buy a small meal at the fast food place down the street. Her stomach rumbled again. She was so hungry that her hands were shaking, but Maya decided to wait a little longer. It was still morning. More people would walk by before lunchtime. Maybe she could make a few more dollars. Maybe she could buy a bigger meal, or save some money for tomorrow. Maya started playing another song. This one was happier. It was about hope and dreams. Even though her life was hard, Maya still had dreams. She dreamed of having a real home someday. She dreamed of playing music on a stage where lots of people would listen. She dreamed of having enough food to eat and clean clothes to wear. The sun got higher in the sky. More people walked by on their way to work or shopping. Maya kept playing and singing. Her fingers were getting sore from the guitar strings, but she did not stop. Music was the only way she knew how to make money. It was also the only thing that made her feel better when she was sad. Maya did not know that this day would be different from all the other days. She did not know that soon. Everything in her life would change. She just sat on the sidewalk playing her broken guitar and hoping that someone would care enough to help a homeless girl who just wanted to play music for food. Maya was playing a soft song when she heard loud voices coming toward her. She looked up and saw a group of teenagers walking down the sidewalk. There were 5 of them, 3 girls and 2 boys. They all wore expensive clothes and carried designer bags. Their shoes looked new and clean. The group was laughing and talking loudly. They did not seem to care that other people on the street could hear everything they said. Maya could tell they had money. Everything about them looked perfect and expensive. One of the girls had long blonde hair and wore a lot of makeup. She seemed to be the leader of the group. Her name was Brittany, though Maya did not know that yet. Brittany's father was the mayor of the city. She was used to getting whatever she wanted. Brittany was the first one to notice Maya sitting on the sidewalk. She stopped walking and pointed at Maya. "Look at that," Brittany said to her friends. "What is that supposed to be?" The other teenagers stopped and looked where Brittany was pointing. They saw Maya with her old guitar and her cardboard sign. One of the boys laughed. "Is that a real person or just a pile of old clothes?" he said. Maya felt her face get hot. She wanted to disappear, but she had nowhere to go. This was her spot. She had been sitting here for hours and she needed the money. Maya tried to keep playing her song, but her hands started to shake. "Oh my God," said another girl with dark hair. "Look at her sign. Can I play for food? That's so pathetic." The girl took out her phone and started taking pictures of Maya. "This is going to be hilarious to show everyone at school." Maya stopped playing and looked down at her guitar. She wished she could make herself invisible. She had dealt with mean people before, but it still hurt every time. She was just trying to survive. She was not hurting anyone. Brittany walked closer to Maya. She stood right in front of her, blocking the sun. "Excuse me," Brittany said in a fake sweet voice. "Are you actually homeless, or is this just some kind of weird art project?" Maya looked up at Brittany but did not say anything. She had learned that sometimes it was better to stay quiet. Maybe if she ignored them, they would get bored and leave. But Brittany did not like being ignored. "I'm talking to you," she said louder. "Are you deaf too? Or just stupid?" The other teenagers laughed. One of the boys took out his phone and started recording a video. "This is perfect," he said. "Wait until everyone sees this," Maya finally spoke. Her voice was quiet. "I'm just trying to play music," she said. "I'm not bothering anyone. Not bothering anyone." Brittany laughed. "You're sitting on a public sidewalk looking like a disaster. You're bothering everyone who has to see you." Another girl joined in. "And that guitar," she said, pointing at Maya's instrument. "It's missing strings. It probably sounds terrible. I bet you don't even know how to play." Maya felt angry now, but she tried not to show it. "I do know how to play," she said. "I've been playing for 6 years." "6 years?" Brittany said, laughing even harder. "And this is how good you are? You're sitting on the street begging for money?" The teenagers were attracting attention now. Other people on the sidewalk were starting to stop and watch. Some looked uncomfortable and walked away quickly. Others seemed curious about what was happening. Maya wished all these people would just leave her alone. She was embarrassed and hurt. But she was also getting angry. These rich kids had no idea what her life was like. They had never been hungry or homeless. They had never slept outside in the cold. "You know what your problem is?" Brittany said, crossing her arms. "You're just lazy. If you really wanted a job, you could get one. Instead, you sit here pretending to be a musician and asking for handouts. It's not that simple," Maya said. Her voice was getting stronger. "You don't know anything about my life." "I know enough," Brittany said. "I know that real musicians don't sit on sidewalks begging. They play in concerts and recording studios. They have talent," one of the boys laughed. "Yeah, and they have all their guitar strings," he said. The group thought this was very funny. Maya's face was red now. She was tired of being treated like she was not a real person. Just because I'm homeless doesn't mean I'm not talented, she said. Prove it then, Brittany said. She was enjoying this. She liked having an audience. If you're so talented, play something. Let's hear this amazing music that's worth paying for. The other teenagers started encouraging Brittany. Yeah, make her play something, one said. Let's see how bad it really is. Maya looked around. More people had stopped to watch now. There was a small crowd forming on the sidewalk. Some people looked mean, like they wanted to see Maya embarrassed. Others looked worried or sad. A few people seemed angry at the teenagers for being so cruel. Maya's hands were shaking as she held her guitar. She did not want to play for these mean people. But she also did not want them to think she was lying about being a musician. Music was the most important thing in her life. It was all she had left. Come on, Brittany said impatiently. We don't have all day. Play something that's actually worth listening to. Show us this amazing talent you claim to have. The boy with the phone kept recording. This is going to get so many views online, he said to his friends. Maya realized that no matter what she did, these people were going to make fun of her. If she played, they would say she was bad. If she did not play, they would say she was fake. She was trapped. But then Maya thought about all the people who had been kind to her. She thought about Mrs. Johnson, who taught her to play guitar. She thought about the old woman who had given her $5 and called her voice beautiful. She thought about all the times music had made her feel better when everything else was terrible. Maya took a deep breath. Maybe these mean teenagers did not deserve to hear her music, but maybe there were other people in the crowd who did. Maybe someone would understand that she was more than just a homeless girl on the street. Fine, Maya said, looking up at Brittany. I'll play something for you. Her voice was quiet, but there was something strong in it now. But I'm not playing for you. I'm playing for everyone else who knows that music comes from the heart, not from having money. Brittany smirked. Whatever, she said. Just hurry up. I have better things to do than listen to street noise. Maya positioned her guitar and placed her fingers on the strings. The crowd got quiet. Even the mean teenagers stopped talking. Everyone was waiting to see what would happen next. Maya closed her eyes for a moment. She tried to forget about the people staring at her. She tried to forget about being hungry and homeless and scared. She thought about the music inside her heart. She thought about all the songs she had written when she was sad or lonely or hopeful. When Maya opened her eyes, she was ready to play. Maya sat very still for a moment, holding her guitar. The crowd around her had grown bigger. People stopped walking to see what was happening. Some stood close, others stayed back, but everyone was watching. Brittany stood right in front of Maya with her arms crossed. She had a mean smile on her face. She was sure that Maya would embarrass herself. Brittany thought this would be fun to watch. Well, Brittany said loudly, are you going to play or not? We're all waiting to hear this amazing music. She turned to look at her friends and the crowd. I bet it's going to be terrible. The other teenagers laughed. The boy with the phone moved closer to get a better video. This is going to be epic, he said to his friend. Maya looked down at her guitar. 2 strings were missing and the other 4 were old and worn. The guitar had scratches and dents all over it. It was not a beautiful instrument anymore, but it was hers and she loved it. She thought about what song to play. She had written many songs over the years. Some were sad songs about being alone. Some were angry songs about unfair things in life. Some were hopeful songs about dreams coming true. Maya decided to play one of her newest songs. She had written it just last week while sitting in the park at night. It was about feeling invisible and wanting someone to see that you matter. It was about being more than what people think you are. As Maya placed her fingers on the guitar strings, her hands stopped shaking. Music always made her feel calmer. Even in scary situations like this one, music made her feel like herself again. If you're not going to play, just say so, Brittany said. Stop wasting our time. Maya looked up at Brittany. I'm going to play, she said quietly. But first I want to ask you something. Brittany looked surprised. She was not expecting Maya to ask her a question. What? She said. Why are you being so mean to me? Maya asked. I never did anything to hurt you. I'm just sitting here trying to make enough money to buy food. Why does that make you angry? Brittany's face got red. She did not like being asked this question in front of all these people. I'm not angry, she said. I just don't like people who lie. What lie? Maya asked. You're pretending to be a musician, Brittany said. Real musicians don't sit on streets begging. They have jobs and money and nice instruments. Maya shook her head. That's not true, she said. Music isn't about having money or nice things. Music is about having something to say and knowing how to say it. Some people in the crowd nodded. A woman near the back called out, "She's right." An older man said, "Let her play." Brittany did not like that people were starting to support Maya. She wanted everyone to think Maya was a fake. "Anyone can say they're a musician," Brittany said louder. "But talk is cheap. If you're really good, prove it." "That's what I'm trying to do," Maya said. "But you keep interrupting me." The crowd was getting restless. People wanted to hear Maya play. They were getting tired of listening to Brittany be mean. "Play the song," someone called out. "Yeah, we want to hear music," said another person. Brittany realized she was losing control of the situation. People were not on her side anymore. "Fine," she said. "Play your little song, but when it sounds terrible, don't blame us for laughing." Maya took a deep breath. She looked around at all the faces watching her. Some people looked curious. Some looked worried. Some looked like they wanted to help her but did not know how. Maya started to play. The first notes came out soft and clear. Even with only 4 strings, the guitar sounded beautiful in her hands. She had learned to make music with what she had, not what she wished she had. As she played the opening of her song, the crowd got very quiet. Even Brittany stopped talking. The music was not what anyone expected. It was gentle but strong. It was sad but hopeful at the same time. Maya began to sing. Her voice was not perfect like a professional singer's voice, but it was real and honest. She sang about feeling invisible, about people looking through you like you are not there. She sang about having dreams even when everything seems hopeless. The words of her song told a story. It was about a girl who had nothing but still believed she was worth something. It was about staying strong when the world tells you that you don't matter. It was about finding beauty in broken things. As Maya sang, something magical happened. The busy street seemed to get quieter. Cars still drove by, but somehow they seemed less loud. People stopped rushing past. Even the teenagers who had been making fun of Maya stood still and listened. The song was not very long, but every word mattered. Maya sang about loneliness and hope, about being hurt and still choosing to be kind. She sang about music being the thing that saved her when everything else fell apart. When Maya finished the first verse and chorus, she looked up at the crowd. Many people had tears in their eyes. Even some of Brittany's friends looked uncomfortable now. They had not expected Maya to be really talented, but Brittany was not ready to give up. "That's just one song," she said, though her voice was not as confident as before. "Anyone can write a sad song about being poor. Play something else. Play something that actually shows skill." Maya felt surprised. She had played well and everyone could hear it. But Brittany still wanted to make her feel bad. Maya realized that some people would never admit when they were wrong, even when the truth was right in front of them. "What kind of song do you want me to play?" Maya asked. Brittany thought for a moment. She wanted to choose something that would be hard for Maya. "Play something happy," she said. "Play something that shows you can do more than just complain about your life." Maya nodded. She knew a song that would be perfect. It was a song she had learned from Mrs. Johnson, her old foster mother. It was an old song about freedom and flying and not letting anyone keep you down. But as Maya prepared to play the second song, she noticed something. More people had joined the crowd. There were maybe 30 people watching now. They had heard her first song and wanted to hear more. Maya also noticed that some people in the crowd looked angry. But they were not angry at her. They were angry at Brittany and her friends for being so cruel to a young girl who was just trying to survive. An older woman stepped forward. "Leave this child alone," she said to Brittany. "She's done nothing wrong. You should be ashamed of yourselves." A man in a business suit nodded. "This is harassment," he said. "If you don't like her music, just walk away." Brittany looked around and realized that most people were against her now. But she was too proud to back down. "She's the one who chose to perform in public," Brittany said. "If she can't handle criticism, she shouldn't be out here." "There's a difference between criticism and cruelty," the older woman said. "You're being cruel to someone who's already having a hard time." Maya felt grateful that these strangers were defending her, but she also wanted to finish what she had started. "It's okay," she said to the woman. "I want to play another song." Maya looked at Brittany one more time. "This song is for everyone who believes that music can change the world," she said. "Even when the world seems dark and mean." As Maya began to play her second song, she did not know that someone very important was walking toward the crowd. Someone who would change everything. Maya closed her eyes and began to play her second song. This one was different from the first. Where the first song had been soft and sad, this one was stronger and more hopeful. Even with her broken guitar, the music filled the air around them. The song was called Flying Free, and Maya had learned it from Mrs. Johnson years ago. But Maya had made it her own by changing some of the words. Now it was about a bird that had been caged but found a way to escape and soar above the clouds. As Maya played, her fingers moved quickly across the 4 remaining strings. She had practiced so much over the years that she could make beautiful music even with a damaged instrument. The missing strings actually made the song sound unique and special. Maya's voice grew stronger as she sang. She was not thinking about the mean teenagers anymore. She was not thinking about being hungry or homeless. She was only thinking about the music and the story she was telling through her song. The crowd around her had grown even bigger. There were maybe 40 people now, all listening quietly. Some people had their phones out, but they were not making fun of Maya like Brittany's friend had been. They were recording because they thought her music was beautiful. Maya sang about breaking free from chains that others could not see. She sang about rising above people who tried to keep you down. She sang about finding your own voice even when the world told you to be quiet. As she played, Maya noticed that even Brittany had stopped talking. The mean girl stood with her mouth slightly open, clearly surprised by what she was hearing. Her friends looked uncomfortable too. They had expected to laugh at a homeless girl, but instead they were hearing real talent. The older woman who had defended Maya earlier was crying. She wiped tears from her eyes as she listened to the beautiful song. A young father lifted his small daughter onto his shoulders so she could see Maya better. The little girl clapped her hands quietly to the rhythm. Maya reached the chorus of the song and her voice soared higher. She sang about hope being stronger than fear, about dreams being more powerful than doubt. Her voice was clear and strong, carrying across the street and down the sidewalk. A man in an expensive suit had stopped at the edge of the crowd. He was older, maybe 50 years old, with gray hair and kind eyes. He carried a briefcase and wore a gold watch. He looked like he was probably rich and important. But instead of walking past like most rich people did, this man stayed to listen. He pushed through the crowd until he was closer to Maya. His face showed that he was impressed by what he was hearing. Maya was in the middle of the most difficult part of the song now. It was where the bird in the story finally broke free and flew toward the sun. Maya's voice climbed higher and higher, showing off skills that most people did not know she had. Even with her old broken guitar, Maya made the music sound professional. She had learned to work with what she had instead of complaining about what she did not have. This made her music more powerful, not weaker. The man in the suit was nodding his head slowly. He seemed to understand something about Maya's music that the others did not. He was not just hearing a homeless girl sing. He was hearing something special. As Maya continued playing, more people joined the crowd. Someone had posted a video on social media, and people were coming to see what was happening. But Maya did not notice any of this. She was lost in her music. Maya sang about never giving up even when everything seemed impossible. She sang about keeping your heart open even when people were cruel to you. She sang about believing in yourself when no one else would. Brittany was fidgeting now. She could see that her plan to embarrass Maya had failed completely. Instead of looking foolish, Maya looked talented and brave. Instead of people laughing at Maya, they were impressed by her. One of Brittany's friends whispered to her, "Maybe we should go. This is getting weird." But Brittany was too stubborn to leave. She had started this confrontation, and she did not want to look like she was running away. She stood there with her arms crossed, trying to look like she was not impressed. Maya reached the final verse of her song. This was the part where the bird realized that being free was not just about escaping the cage. It was about helping other birds find their freedom too. Maya's voice became gentle again, but it was still strong. The man in the expensive suit was watching Maya very carefully now. He was not just listening to her music. He was studying her like he was trying to figure something out. His eyes were bright with interest. As Maya played the last few notes of the song, the entire crowd was silent except for her voice and guitar. Even the traffic on the street seemed quieter. It was like the whole world had stopped to listen to this homeless girl make beautiful music. Maya finished the song with a soft, gentle note that seemed to float in the air for a moment before fading away. For several seconds, no one moved or spoke. The silence was complete, then someone started clapping. It was the older woman who had defended Maya earlier. Soon other people joined in. The clapping grew louder and louder until almost everyone in the crowd was applauding. People were not just clapping politely. They were clapping like they had just heard something amazing. Some people were cheering. The little girl on her father's shoulders was clapping her tiny hands as fast as she could. Maya looked up at all the faces around her. Many people had tears in their eyes. They were not sad tears. They were tears of people who had been moved by something beautiful and unexpected. The man in the expensive suit was clapping too, but he was also doing something else. He was moving through the crowd, trying to get closer to Maya. He had a look on his face like he had just made an important discovery. Maya set her guitar down and looked at her open guitar case. People were putting money in it, but they were not just dropping coins like before. They were putting in dollar bills, and some were putting in $10 and $20 bills. But Maya was not thinking about the money. She was thinking about the music and how good it felt to share it with people who appreciated it. For the first time in months, Maya felt like herself again. Brittany stood in the crowd looking angry and embarrassed. Her plan had failed completely. Instead of making Maya look bad, she had made herself look cruel and foolish. People were staring at her now, and not in a good way. The man in the expensive suit had almost reached Maya now. He was moving carefully through the crowd, excusing himself politely as he passed by other people. He looked like he had something important to say. Maya did not notice the man approaching. She was still overwhelmed by the response to her music. She had not performed for a crowd this big since her school talent show years ago. It felt wonderful and scary at the same time. As the clapping finally began to quiet down, Maya realized that everything had changed. A few minutes ago, she had been just another homeless person that people ignored. Now she was someone special. She was a musician again. The man in the expensive suit reached the front of the crowd. He stood near Maya and waited for the clapping to stop completely. When it was quiet, he stepped forward. "Excuse me," he said to Maya. His voice was gentle but confident. That was absolutely extraordinary. Maya looked up at him. She was not used to well-dressed people talking to her. Most of them pretended not to see her. This man was different. His eyes were kind, and he was looking at her like she was important. "Thank you," Maya said quietly. She was still feeling overwhelmed by everything that had just happened. The man knelt down so he was at the same level as Maya. This surprised her. Rich people usually did not kneel on dirty sidewalks. "My name is David Chen," he said. "May I ask your name?" "Maya," she answered. She wondered why this man was being so nice to her. "Maya," David repeated. "That's a beautiful name. Maya, I have to tell you something. I have been in the music business for 30 years, and I have rarely heard anything as moving as what you just performed." Maya's eyes got wide. "The music business?" she asked. David nodded. "I'm a music producer. I work with record companies to find new talent. I help musicians make albums and become professional artists." The crowd around them was listening to every word. People pressed closer to hear what David was saying. Even Brittany and her friends were paying attention now. "I was walking to a business lunch," David continued. "I heard the music from 2 blocks away and came to see who was playing. I expected to find a street performer with an amp and professional equipment. Instead, I found you with a broken guitar, making some of the most authentic music I have heard in years." Maya could not believe what she was hearing. "You really think my music is good?" she asked. "Good?" David smiled. "Maya, your music is more than good. It's real. It comes from your heart and your experiences. That's what great music is made of." David stood up and looked around at the crowd. "How many of you were moved by Maya's performance?" he asked. Almost everyone raised their hands. The older woman called out, "It was beautiful." Other people nodded and said things like, "amazing" and "incredible." David looked back down at Maya. The music industry is full of people who can sing well and play instruments well, but very few of them have what you have. You have a story to tell, and you know how to tell it through music. Brittany stepped forward. She looked uncomfortable, but she was trying to act like she was still in control. "Anyone can make up a sad story," she said. "That doesn't make them a real musician." David turned to look at Brittany. His expression became serious. Young lady, I don't think you understand what you just witnessed. This young woman took a damaged instrument and created something beautiful. She took difficult life experiences and turned them into art. That is exactly what real musicians do. Some people in the crowd started telling Brittany to be quiet. They were tired of her being mean to Maya. Brittany's friends looked embarrassed and started backing away from her. David turned back to Maya. Maya, can I ask you something? How long have you been living on the streets? Maya hesitated. She was not sure if she should tell this stranger about her life, but he seemed genuinely interested, not just curious like some people were. 2 months, Maya said finally, since I turned 18 and aged out of foster care. David's face became sad. You're just 18 years old? Maya nodded. I know I look older. Living outside makes you look older. And you've been playing music to survive? It's the only thing I know how to do, Maya said. I never finished high school, so I can't get most jobs. But I can play guitar and sing. David was quiet for a moment. Maya could see that he was thinking about something important. The crowd was still listening, but they were being respectful and giving Maya and David space to talk. Maya, David said finally, what I'm about to say might sound too good to be true. But I want you to know that I'm completely serious. Maya felt her heart beating faster. What do you mean? I would like to offer you an opportunity, David said. I work with a record label called Harmony Records. We specialize in finding talented artists who might not have had traditional opportunities. Maya's mouth fell open. She could not speak. David continued. I would like to arrange for you to come to our studio and do a proper recording session. I want our team to hear what I just heard. If they agree with me, and I think they will, we would like to offer you a recording contract. The crowd started buzzing with excitement. People were whispering to each other about what they were hearing. Someone said, this is like a movie. Maya found her voice again. You want to give me a recording contract? She asked. But I'm homeless. I don't have anywhere to live or clean clothes or anything. Maya, David said gently, talent like yours doesn't care about those things. We can help you with housing and clothes and everything else you need. What we can't help with is talent, and you already have that. David reached into his jacket pocket and pulled out a business card. This has my phone number and the address of our studio. I want you to call me tomorrow morning. We'll arrange to pick you up and bring you to the studio. Maya took the card with shaking hands. She stared at it like it was made of gold. I don't understand, she said. Things like this don't happen to people like me. What do you mean, people like you? David asked. Poor people. Homeless people. People with no family and no money. David smiled. Maya, some of the greatest musicians in history came from difficult backgrounds. Sometimes struggle makes art more powerful, not weaker. Your music has power because you've lived through things that most people only sing about. The older woman in the crowd called out, You deserve this, honey. You're talented and you worked hard for it. Other people started encouraging Maya too. They told her she was amazing and that she should take the opportunity. But Brittany was not ready to give up. This is ridiculous, she said loudly. You can't just give some random homeless girl a record deal based on 2 songs. David looked at Brittany with a serious expression. Miss, I have been in this business for 3 decades. I have discovered artists who have sold millions of albums and won Grammy Awards. I know talent when I hear it. He paused and looked around at the crowd. But more importantly, everyone here heard the same thing I heard. Maya's music touched every person in this crowd. That's not something you can fake or teach. That's a gift. David looked back at Maya. Maya, I know this is overwhelming. You don't have to decide right now. Take my card, think about it, and call me when you're ready. Maya looked down at the business card again. It said David Chen, Senior Producer, Harmony Records, in simple black letters. Below that was a phone number and an address. What if I'm not good enough? Maya asked quietly. What if I was just lucky today? David knelt down again. Maya, luck didn't make you play those songs the way you did. Skill and heart did that, and those are things you carry with you everywhere. Maya felt tears starting in her eyes. For the first time in months, she felt hope. Real hope. Not just the small hope of making enough money for food. This was hope for a real future. Okay, Maya said. I'll call you tomorrow. David smiled. Wonderful, and Maya? Bring your guitar. Even with the missing strings, it's part of your sound now. We don't want to change what makes you special. As David stood up, Maya realized that her life had just changed completely. 20 minutes ago, she had been a homeless girl being mocked by cruel teenagers. Now she was being offered a chance to become a professional musician. Everything had changed in an instant, just like that. David looked around at the crowd that was still gathered. Many people were taking pictures and videos with their phones. He could see that Maya was feeling overwhelmed by all the attention. "Maya," David said gently, "would you like to go somewhere quieter to talk? There's a cafe right here where we could sit down." Maya looked at the cafe behind her. It was the same one she had been sitting outside of all morning. She had never been inside because she could not afford to buy anything. The idea of going in there seemed strange and scary. "I don't have money for coffee," Maya said quietly. David smiled. "It's my treat. I think we have a lot to talk about." Maya looked down at her dirty clothes and messy hair. "I don't think they'll let me in looking like this." "Anyone who won't let you in after hearing you sing is missing out," David said. "But if it makes you feel better, I know the owner. He's a good man." Maya hesitated for a moment, then nodded. She carefully put her guitar back in its case and closed it. Several people in the crowd were still putting money into the case. She had made more money in the last hour than she usually made in a whole day. David helped Maya stand up. Her legs felt shaky because she had been sitting on the ground for so long. As they walked toward the cafe, people in the crowd said encouraging things to Maya. "Good luck, honey," called the older woman. "You're going to be famous," said the man with the little girl. Even some of Brittany's friends seemed impressed now. One of them said, "That was actually really good." But Brittany herself just stood there looking angry and embarrassed. Inside the cafe, David led Maya to a quiet table in the corner. The owner, a friendly man named Roberto, came over to greet them. David introduced Maya as a very talented young musician. Roberto looked at Maya with kind eyes. "I heard the music from inside," he said. "It was beautiful. You are welcome here any time." David ordered coffee for himself and asked Maya what she would like. Maya had not had a real meal in 2 days, but she was too nervous to eat much. She asked for hot chocolate and a muffin. When Roberto brought their order, David looked at Maya seriously. "Maya, before we talk about music, I'd like to know more about your story. You mentioned foster care. Can you tell me about your life?" Maya wrapped her hands around the warm mug of hot chocolate. It felt good to hold something warm. She was not used to talking about her life with strangers, but David seemed genuinely interested and understanding. "I never knew my real parents," Maya began. "I was put in foster care when I was 3 years old. I lived with different families over the years. Some were nice, some were not so nice." David listened without interrupting. He could see that this was difficult for Maya to talk about. "When I was 12, I went to live with Mrs. Johnson," Maya continued. "She was different from the other foster parents. She really cared about me. She bought me my guitar for my 13th birthday. Maya smiled a little as she remembered. Mrs. Johnson taught me how to play. She said music could help me express feelings that were too big for words. She was right." "She sounds like a wonderful person," David said. "She was," Maya said, and her smile faded. "But when I was 15, she got sick. Cancer. She couldn't take care of me anymore, so I had to go to a new family." Maya took a sip of her hot chocolate before continuing. "The new family didn't understand music. They said my guitar was too loud and that I practiced too much. They made me keep it in the basement," David frowned. "That must have been very difficult." "It was," Maya said. "Music was the most important thing in my life, and they treated it like it was just noise. I felt like I was losing myself." Maya told David about how she had managed to keep playing by practicing at school and in the park. She told him about writing songs in secret and dreaming of someday being a real musician. "When I was 16, Maya said, something amazing happened. My music teacher at school helped me apply for a scholarship to the City Music Academy. It was a special school for talented students who wanted to study music." David's eyes lit up. "The City Music Academy is an excellent school. Did you get the scholarship?" Maya nodded, but she looked sad. "I did. They offered me a full scholarship for my last 2 years of high school plus college. It was like a dream come true. But something went wrong?" David asked gently. Maya's eyes filled with tears. "Mrs. Johnson died right before I was supposed to start at the academy. My foster parents at the time said they couldn't drive me to school every day because it was too far. They said I should just go to regular high school like everyone else." David looked shocked. "They wouldn't let you take the scholarship?" "They said it was impractical," Maya said. "They said music wasn't a real career and that I needed to focus on more realistic goals." Maya wiped her eyes with a napkin. I tried to explain how important it was to me, but they wouldn't listen. The academy couldn't hold the scholarship forever, so I lost it. David was quiet for a moment. Maya could see that he was angry about what had happened to her, but he was trying to stay calm. What happened after that? David asked. I finished high school, but just barely, Maya said. I was so sad about losing the music scholarship that I couldn't focus on anything else. My grades got bad and I stopped caring about school. Maya took another sip of hot chocolate. When I turned 18 2 months ago, I aged out of the foster system. That means I was too old to live in foster homes anymore. I was supposed to be an adult and take care of myself. But you had no money and nowhere to go, David said. Maya nodded. The foster family I was living with said I could stay for a week to figure things out. But after that, I had to leave. I applied for jobs, but I never finished high school properly, and I don't have any work experience. So you've been living on the streets for 2 months? David asked. Yes, Maya said. I sleep in different places. Sometimes in the park, sometimes behind buildings. I use my guitar to make money for food. It's scary and hard, but it's the only way I know how to survive. David shook his head sadly. Maya, you shouldn't have had to go through any of this. A talented young person like you should have been supported and encouraged, not ignored. I used to be angry about it, Maya said, but being angry doesn't change anything. I just try to focus on my music and hope that someday things will get better. David looked at Maya with admiration. Your strength is remarkable. Most people would have given up by now. I thought about giving up, Maya admitted, but music always brought me back. Even when everything else was falling apart, I could still play guitar and write songs. It reminded me that I'm more than just my circumstances. David was quiet for a long moment, thinking about everything Maya had told him. Finally, he spoke. Maya, what I'm about to tell you might be hard to believe, but I want you to listen carefully, he said. Everything you've been through, all the pain and struggle, has made you the artist you are today. Maya looked confused. What do you mean? Your music has depth and emotion that most people your age don't have, David explained. You sing about hope and perseverance because you've lived it. You sing about feeling invisible because you know what that feels like. Your experiences, as difficult as they've been, have given you something very valuable. What's that? Maya asked. Authenticity, David said. Your music is real because your life has been real. People connect with your songs because they can feel the truth in them. Maya had never thought about her difficult life as something that could be valuable. She had always seen it as something that held her back. Does that mean you still want to help me? Maya asked. David smiled. Maya, I want to help you more than ever. But more than that, I think you can help a lot of other people with your music. There are millions of young people out there who feel alone and forgotten just like you did. Your songs could show them that they're not alone. Maya felt a warm feeling in her chest. For the first time in years, she felt like her life might have a purpose beyond just surviving. What happens next? Maya asked. David looked at his watch. Well, first we need to get you somewhere safe to stay tonight. Then tomorrow we start building your future. David finished his coffee and looked at Maya with a serious but kind expression. Maya, I know this is all happening very fast, but I want to help you right away. You shouldn't have to spend another night on the streets. Maya felt overwhelmed. She had been taking care of herself for so long that the idea of someone helping her seemed almost impossible to believe. I don't understand why you want to help me so much, Maya said. You just met me an hour ago, David smiled. Maya, in my 30 years in the music business, I've learned to recognize something special when I see it. But it's not just about your talent. It's about who you are as a person. What do you mean? Maya asked. You've been through terrible things, but you haven't become bitter or mean, David explained. You could have been angry at the world, but instead you chose to create beautiful music. That tells me a lot about your character. David pulled out his phone. I'm going to make some calls. First, I want to find you a safe place to stay tonight. Then tomorrow we'll go to the studio and start working on your future. Maya watched as David made several phone calls. She could hear him talking to different people about finding temporary housing for a young musician. After about 10 minutes, he hung up and smiled at Maya. Good news, David said. I have a friend named Sarah who runs a program for young artists who need help getting on their feet. She has a small apartment that you can use for as long as you need it. Maya's eyes got wide. A real apartment? With a bed and a shower? David nodded. Yes, and it's completely free. Sarah believes in helping young people pursue their dreams. She's helped many musicians over the years. Maya felt tears in her eyes again. I can't believe this is happening. There's more, David said. Tomorrow morning, I want you to come to the studio. But first, we're going to get you some new clothes and anything else you need. Maya looked down at her dirty, torn clothes. I don't have money for new clothes. Maya, you're going to be working with our record label, David said. This is an investment in your future. We want you to feel confident and comfortable. David stood up from the table. Are you ready to see your new apartment? Maya carefully picked up her guitar case. As they walked toward the door of the cafe, Roberto called out to them. Good luck, young lady, Roberto said to Maya. I hope to see you on TV someday. Maya smiled and waved. It felt strange to have people believing in her dreams. Outside the cafe, David led Maya to a black car that was parked nearby. Maya had never ridden in such a nice car before. The seats were leather, and everything inside was clean and comfortable. As they drove through the city, David pointed out different landmarks. Maya had walked past many of these places, but she had never really looked at them. When you're homeless, you spend most of your time looking down at the ground or worrying about where you'll sleep. Maya, David said as they drove, I want you to know that this journey won't always be easy. The music business can be challenging and you'll have to work very hard. I'm not afraid of hard work, Maya said. I've been working hard just to survive. Working hard on something I love will be much better. David smiled. That's exactly the attitude you'll need. They pulled up in front of a small building in a nice neighborhood. David led Maya up to the second floor and knocked on a door. A woman in her 40s opened it. She had short gray hair and kind eyes. You must be Maya, the woman said with a warm smile. I'm Sarah. David told me about your music. I can't wait to hear you play. Sarah led them into a small but clean apartment. There was a bedroom with a real bed, a bathroom with a shower, and a small kitchen. To Maya, it looked like a palace. This is yours for as long as you need it, Sarah said. There are clean towels in the bathroom and some basic food in the kitchen. Tomorrow we can go shopping for anything else you need. Maya walked around the apartment slowly, touching things like the soft bed and the clean kitchen counter. She had not lived indoors for 2 months. I don't know how to thank you, Maya said to Sarah and David. You don't need to thank us, Sarah said. Just focus on your music and your future. That's thanks enough. David looked at his watch. Maya, I'm going to let you get settled in tonight. Tomorrow morning at 10 o'clock, I'll pick you up and we'll go shopping for clothes. Then we'll go to the studio. After David and Sarah left, Maya stood alone in her new apartment. She set her guitar case down carefully and walked to the window. She could see the street where she had been performing just a few hours ago. Maya went to the bathroom and looked at herself in the mirror. Her hair was messy and her face was dirty, but her eyes looked different. They looked hopeful. Maya took a long, hot shower. It was the first real shower she had taken in weeks. The warm water felt amazing on her skin. She washed her hair twice and stood under the water for a long time. After her shower, Maya put on some clean clothes that Sarah had left for her. They were simple clothes, but they were clean and they fit well. Maya looked at herself in the mirror again and hardly recognized the person looking back. Maya went to the kitchen and made herself a simple dinner with the food Sarah had provided. As she ate, she thought about everything that had happened that day. This morning she had been a homeless girl that most people ignored. Tonight she was sitting in her own apartment preparing to start a music career. It seemed like a dream. Maya took her guitar out of its case and sat on the bed. She played softly, practicing some of the songs she had written over the past few months. The guitar still had only 4 strings, but tomorrow David had said they would get it fixed. As Maya played, she thought about Mrs. Johnson, her old foster mother who had taught her to love music. She wished Mrs. Johnson could see her now. Maya felt like her foster mother would be proud of how far she had come. Maya also thought about all the people who had listened to her music that day. The older woman who had defended her, the man with the little girl, even some of the people who had started out making fun of her had ended up being impressed. But most of all, Maya thought about David. She still could not completely believe that a real music producer wanted to help her. Part of her was afraid that she would wake up tomorrow and discover it had all been a dream. Maya looked at David's business card, which she had placed carefully on the small table beside the bed. She read his name and phone number again to make sure it was real. Before going to sleep, Maya wrote a new song. It was about transformation and new beginnings. It was about how your life could change completely in just one day if you kept believing in yourself. As Maya drifted off to sleep in her first real bed in 2 months, She smiled. Tomorrow would be the first day of her new life. She was ready for whatever came next. Outside her window, the city lights twinkled like stars. Maya felt like she was finally ready to reach for those stars and make her dreams come true. 6 months had passed since that life-changing day on the sidewalk. Maya stood backstage at the city concert hall, looking out at the crowd of over 1,000 people. She was wearing a beautiful blue dress and her hair was clean and styled. But the most important thing she carried was still her old guitar, now restrung and polished but still showing its scars. Tonight was the charity concert for homeless youth that Maya had organized with David's help. All the money raised would go to programs that helped young people who were living on the streets, just like Maya had been. Maya thought back over the past 6 months. The day after meeting David, they had gone shopping for clothes and then to the recording studio. Maya had been nervous, but David's team had been kind and patient with her. Recording her first album had been like a dream. Maya had written 12 new songs about her experiences, her hopes, and her determination to help other young people. The album was called Invisible No More, and it had become very popular very quickly. David had been right about Maya's authenticity. People connected with her music because they could feel the truth in every word she sang. Her songs had touched the hearts of listeners all over the country. Maya had also finished her high school education with the help of a tutor. She was planning to start college in the fall, studying music therapy. She wanted to use music to help other young people heal from difficult experiences. The apartment that Sarah had given her had become a real home. Maya had decorated it with photos and posters, and she had bought a piano to go with her guitar. Sometimes she invited other young musicians over to practice and write songs together. Maya peeked out at the audience again. She could see many familiar faces. There was Roberto from the cafe who had become a good friend. There was Sarah, who had helped so many young artists over the years. There was the older woman who had defended Maya that first day, and even the man with the little girl, who was now 7 years old and taking guitar lessons herself. But what surprised Maya most was seeing Brittany sitting in the third row. The mean girl who had mocked Maya 6 months ago looked very different now. She seemed smaller and less confident than before. After Maya's story had been featured in newspapers and on television, Brittany had faced consequences for her cruel behavior. The video of her mocking Maya had gone viral, but not in the way she had hoped. People had criticized her for being heartless to someone who was struggling. Brittany's father, the mayor, had been embarrassed by his daughter's behavior. He had made her volunteer at homeless shelters and attend classes about empathy and kindness. Slowly, Brittany had begun to understand how wrong she had been. 3 months ago, Brittany had written Maya a letter. In it, she had apologized sincerely for her cruelty and asked if there was any way she could help Maya's charity work. Maya had been surprised but pleased by the letter. Maya believed that everyone deserved a second chance to be better. She had invited Brittany to volunteer at some of the charity events, and the former mean girl had worked hard to make up for her past behavior. David walked up behind Maya. He was wearing a tuxedo and looked very proud. "Are you ready?" he asked. Maya nodded. "I'm ready." "Remember," David said, "you're not the same scared girl who was sitting on that sidewalk 6 months ago. You're a professional musician now, and you have something important to say." Maya walked onto the stage as the lights came up. The audience clapped loudly, and she saw many people standing up to cheer for her. Maya felt overwhelmed by the love and support in the room. "Good evening, everyone," Maya said into the microphone. 6 months ago, I was homeless and hungry, sitting outside a cafe and hoping someone would give me enough money to buy food. The audience was completely quiet, listening to every word. That day, some teenagers made fun of me for being poor and dirty. They thought I was worthless because I had nowhere to live. But other people saw something different. They saw a human being with dreams and talents just like everyone else. Maya paused and looked out at the crowd. "Tonight, we're here to help other young people who are facing the same struggles I faced. Every dollar we raise will go to programs that provide housing, education, and support for homeless youth." The audience clapped enthusiastically. Maya picked up her guitar. "This is the same guitar I played that day 6 months ago. It was broken then, just like I felt broken. But with help and support, both my guitar and my life were repaired and made beautiful again." Maya began to play her most popular song, Invisible No More. It was about finding your voice when the world tries to silence you. It was about believing in yourself when no one else does. It was about rising above circumstances that seem impossible to overcome. As Maya sang, she could see people in the audience crying. But they were not crying because they felt sorry for her. They were crying because her music gave them hope and strength. When Maya finished the song, the entire audience stood up and clapped for several minutes. Maya felt the same feeling she had experienced that first day on the sidewalk, but much stronger now. She felt like she was exactly where she belonged. "Before I sing my next song," Maya said, "I want to say something to any young people who might be watching this concert on television or online." Maya looked directly into the camera that was recording the concert. If you are homeless, if you are hungry, if you feel like no one cares about you, please know that you are not invisible. You matter. Your dreams matter. Your life has value even when it doesn't feel that way. Maya's voice grew stronger. It may seem impossible now, but things can change. With help from good people and a lot of hard work, you can build the life you want. Don't give up on yourself, because someone out there believes in you, even if you haven't met them yet. The audience clapped again, and Maya saw many people wiping away tears. Maya played several more songs during her concert. Each one told a part of her story and shared a message of hope. She sang about the importance of kindness, the power of music to heal, and the strength that comes from helping others. When the concert ended, Maya had raised over $50,000 for homeless youth programs. But more importantly, she had inspired hundreds of people to get involved in helping young people in need. After the concert, Maya met with audience members who wanted to thank her and share their own stories. Many people told her that her music had helped them through difficult times in their own lives. Brittany approached Maya near the end of the evening. She looked nervous but determined. "Maya," Brittany said quietly, "I know I can never take back the cruel things I said to you that day, but I want you to know that meeting you changed my life too." Maya looked at Brittany with curiosity. "How do you mean?" "You showed me that I was wrong about so many things," Brittany said. "I thought having money and nice clothes made me better than other people, but you taught me that what really matters is how we treat each other." Brittany paused, then continued, "I've been volunteering at the homeless shelter every week since that day. I've met so many amazing people who just needed someone to believe in them. I'm sorry it took me so long to understand." Maya smiled and reached out to hug Brittany. "Thank you for telling me that. And thank you for working to help other people now. That means more to me than any apology." As the evening ended, Maya stood on the empty stage and looked out at the rows of seats. 6 months ago, she had been invisible to most of the world. Tonight, over 1,000 people had come to hear her message and support her cause. Maya thought about all the young people who were still living on the streets, still feeling invisible and hopeless. She knew that her work was just beginning. She wanted to use her music and her platform to help as many of them as possible. David joined Maya on the stage. "How does it feel?" he asked. Maya smiled. "It feels like everything terrible that happened to me was worth it, because it led me here. I can use my experiences to help other people, and that gives my life meaning." "You've come so far," David said proudly, "but I have a feeling this is just the beginning of your story." Maya looked down at her guitar, then back up at David. "I hope so. There are so many more songs to write, and so many more people to help." As Maya left the concert hall that night, she passed the same cafe where she had sat begging for money just 6 months earlier. She stopped for a moment and remembered the scared, hungry girl she had been. That girl was still part of her, but she was no longer invisible. She had found her voice, and she was using it to make the world a little brighter for people who needed hope. Maya walked home to her apartment, carrying her guitar and thinking about all the possibilities that lay ahead. She had learned that sometimes the worst moments in your life can lead to the most beautiful transformations, if you don't give up on yourself. In an instant, everything had changed, and Maya knew that with hard work, kindness, and a little help from good people, everything could change for others too.